I like the Hazy Bear.
Awesome. One of our better sellers.
Yeah. I like that one. Is it Hell's or Helly's?
It's actually Hellas is the way.
Hellas. I like the Hazy Bear. I like the Hellas. I like the Farm and Forage series.
Oh, yeah.
What else is here? I just had a Mully's. The only one I haven't tried yet, and I've got little things that I wrote about each one. The only one I haven't tried yet is the sour something. It's just a black can.
Yeah, that's
and
our.
You just sent me one.
Yeah, sour IPA. It's just a little something different. It's I don't know. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I normally don't drink that stuff. I'll try it out though. But what did I have here? Oh yeah. But thanks for sending that care package. That was awesome. Stefan delivered it himself.
Worked out pretty good. You just haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, really. That was great.
Yeah, no problem.
Super sweet. I don't think I ever received anything that heavy, like in a package like that before, and just a 2-4 beer, and then got to do the little unboxing kind of thing too.
So fun. Because you didn't know what I was sending, really. I was just going to get a care package and send it off.
And what else? What's new with you since we last talked?
What's new? Oh, I bought a cottage.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, so we haven't signed the paper, but it should be within the next week. We should get it September 8th. So that was it. Kind of came out of nowhere, and we went for it, and so we should have a nice, fun cottage September.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, super excited.
Congrats. Is it it's close to where you guys are now? About how far away?
It's about an hour and a half on the Quebec side. It's actually it's near a town called Shawville, which just happens to be the a more English speaking part of Quebec, so which helps because I don't speak very much French, but should be good.
What about your partner? Does she speak much French?
A little bit. She grew up in Ottawa, so she speaks a little bit of French. Her mom's French, but she kind of lost a little bit over the last few years. So now she's taking French class. So she can at least get by, which is good.
Gotcha. And I just see it's funny because when I was opening up this chat, I was clicking the little buttons to allow you to come into the room and everything. And there was one that I clicked, and it was I was like, wait a second. And I went back and I double checked, and it was allow the person to change their name. And I was like, oh, I want to leave that clicked. And you took full advantage of it, El Davo and Senorita Carrie.
Well, I haven't changed it since last time. Yeah, well, this is Carrie's office, so she's started here in spirit.
So a couple things I wanted to talk about just before we hop into all the beer I tried, and where I'll kind of tell you what I think, and then you can kind of tell me what's actually up with them. Fantasy football. Or the league. Champions of the Dirty Sacks is back, and the Raffy Bombs are back. And how do you feel about your team?
Well, I got the first overall pick this year, which was a nice perk.
Wow.
Because I don't know if you remember, I won the league last year.
No, I didn't remember.
Yeah, so I get the first overall pick. It kind of came out of nowhere. I had a really bad season. I kind of fought my way into the playoffs and then went on a run and ended up winning it all, which was, kind of a nice way to do it, I guess.
For sure. You're like the St. Louis Blues came out of nowhere.
Yeah. With all that momentum, I went right to the finals. But it's funny. Some years you have teams that you're like, oh, this is a winner, and then you just bad luck, and then other years you're like, maybe we'll see, and then you hit a bit of luck and you go right to the finals. So but this year, got the first overall pick. So Christian McCaffrey was pretty much a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I had first last year, and that's who I took, and he was just dominant every week. He was amazing.
Oh yeah. So hopefully he repeats, but usually no one ever repeats the next year, but we'll see. But the one thing about picking number one is you don't pick for till like really late, like, so it's, we're in a 14 team league. So I picked 1 and then 28th. So like,
I didn't like it, to tell you the truth. I was happy that I got McCaffrey, but for the same reason, I was like, ugh. Next up is like, because everyone's just hammering their running backs and everything right away. It's really, the good people go fast.
Yeah. So usually my strategy is always like running back, and then kind of fill in maybe wide receiver or see what's available. But there was no running backs available that made sense at that pick. So I had to pick a couple of wide receivers. So I had to change my strategy on the spot. But I still got some decent running backs. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Every year's a roll of the dice, really, with the injuries, the amount of injuries in this sport.
Yeah.
And the amount of guys who just they're young and they just have breakout and they come from nowhere kind of thing.
Yeah, it's hard to predict. And especially this year, we don't know with COVID, does the season last? What happens,
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm still looking forward to it. I still think it'll be fun. And if it craps out at any point, it's like, whatever, we tried.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah.
One thing I did this year, the new approach that I took is, because anytime I draft my team myself, we bomb. We're the Raffy Bombs and we stay true to our name. But anytime I've auto drafted, I've had a better team. So I just let it go auto draft this year and kind of happy with my team. I'd say we're mediocre. I got that email from the website there that Shark was talking about. Said I was going to go 8-5 or something like that, or 8-6. I was like, you know what? I could live with that. And it said I was 9th pick. And some of the guys I ended up with, I was like, that's pretty good for 9th.
Sweet. Yeah. Who's your number one guy, I guess?
I think Dalvin Cook is probably considered my number one.
Yeah.
Maybe Dak. I mean, Dak was number 2 in quarterback last year. So I don't know when I picked him up, but that's one thing I'll have to ask Shark. I'd love to see I'd love to go back and look at the draft and see who got taken where and who I could have possibly missed out on, or who the computer chose instead of this guy. Or
there should be.
I don't think they have. I think I searched last year for a deep dive and I couldn't find it. But Shark, if there is a way, Shark probably knows.
Yeah.
I totally forgot because I've been so swamped at work. So I wouldn't have made the draft anyways, but I was planning to auto draft anyways. So we'll see if that works out. But also Shark's email said he was going to go 13-0 or 14-0 or something. So who knows, man. All right. So can we talk about the new beer that you have coming out yet?
Yeah, sure. So next week we have a New Zealand Pilsner coming out. So it's a Pilsner malt bill. So we have a pretty basic malt bill, and then we use all New Zealand hops to make it sort of a unique flavor. And the special thing about New Zealand hops is they have this kind of the old world kind of floral herbal flavor, but they also have these tropical fruit flavors too. So it's kind of a new age Pilsner that will be coming out next week.
Nice. Both those things actually were hints that I've got in some of my reviews of the beer. Less of the herbal. Would you say herbal and flowery or something like that was one?
Yeah, that'd be a classic hop would be more like herbal.
And then what was the other one? Fruity and
tropical fruit. So you get more almost like mangoes and pineapple, and you could also get peach, those kind of stone fruits.
Gotcha. I was definitely picking up on some. We can jump right into it here. The first one I tried was the Farm and Forage series, and you sent one. I think you said it might have been a little bit of a hot topic there.
So it was one of those beers I just didn't know how it would turn out, and then because it was using a different ingredient, and so I just made a half batch, and I didn't really think it would sell too well, but it was kind of a nice. It's something I always wanted to do, and then we put it out, and it was gone. It was sold out in a week, so and people were asking for it. So unfortunately, it's one time a year, so it'll come back next year, I guess.
Gotcha. So when does that come out? Like summer, spring or summer, something like that?
It comes out. So it's a spruce tip beer. So I use spruce tips from a spruce tree. But you have to pick them when they're still like they're fresh. So there's these new green kind of they're soft tips on them, so you can pick them off, and that's when you can use them. If you wait too long, they get really resiny and they don't taste. They taste kind of like pine tar. But for a short window, you get this nice like kind of Christmas tree, but also vitamin C kind of flavor.
That's probably why I liked it. There was so many flavors kind of mixing it around in there, kind of what you just described, like, yeah, like some sort of spruce or something like that was great. And I mean, some of these are kind of general and some of them still adapt to other ones too, but it was light, crisp. I thought I thought there was citrus, but maybe it's the spruce. Maybe I wasn't definitive or specific enough. Is there citrus in that, or is there, maybe it's the spruce, or there was some kind of.
Yep. So I also added the hops I used were their classic West Coast hops called Cascade and Chinook, which give a sort of a grapefruit citrusy kind of flavor as well.
Yeah, I definitely picked up.
And a little bit of pine as well. So I thought that would like marry really nice with the spruce flavors from the spruce tips.
Man, it was great. Other than, I would say Farm and Forage was probably my favorite. I would say Hellas was also a favorite, just based on how easy I could drink it, and just like, yeah, it was great. Yeah. But Farm and Forage for like taste and everything too, I think that was my favorite one. And I actually wrote down earthy tones, and I didn't know anything about spruce trees and pine needles and things like that you're able. So I feel like maybe I was onto something there. But maybe the name gave it away too. Farm and Forage series kind of maybe directed me a bit, but I was definitely getting some of that. I was trying to get into it.
I think on the label I have here.
Yeah, I think it's got some leaves or something.
Yeah, it's got there's little Easter eggs. There's spruce tips on there. But we're gonna do a bunch of these. We're gonna the next one I'm doing is a sumac farm and forage beer. So on the golf course, there's a bunch of sumac trees that grow. So I'm gonna staghorn sumac. So I'm gonna cut the little like they look like these horns, these red horns that stick up. So I'm gonna cut them off and throw them in a brew, and that should come out probably October.
Cool. Farm and forage. Oh, and speaking of that, because I would actually like to get some more farm and forage, and you said you're going to be shipping to Ontario soon. You guys are figuring out something.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. I think we just got the account, so we're just working on the logistics, but soon you'll be able to order online, and then we'll ship right across Ontario.
That's pretty sweet. That's great. That's perfect, actually, because that's kind of coincides with similar things that I want to do here, is just expanding the knowledge of what you're doing to other people, which I gave some people at work. I talked about it and they're like, oh yeah. And they were all interested in the beer and everything. And I was like, you know what, why don't I bring you a couple? That's and then sweet. I did. And like, just those little pieces, we'll just get these people, pick them up everywhere we go, bit by bit. So back to the farm and forage series, earthy tones, sharp flavor. I wrote down sharp flavor. It's kind of got a little bit of kick or something, a little bit of spice or something when you.
A little bitterness, I guess.
Yeah, is that it? Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's a little bit, not too much, like more than the Hellas.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Sometimes the spruce tips, it kind of, for me, I get a sweetness from it, and I wanted to like counteract that sweetness with some kind of bitterness, which the bitterness should kind of cleanse your palate, kind of scrapes it. It's the best way I can describe it. So then you want one. Otherwise, it'd be too clawing, and you'd like taste it like, oh, that's nice, and then you don't want another one after.
Yeah, I definitely wanted more after. So to understand this properly, you're actually using actual spruce tips or pine needles and putting it in with like the batch of beer in the fermenter or something like that?
We do it in the kettle. So it'd be like just like doing, so while you're boiling, you're adding hops usually at different times. And right at the end, I threw a couple of bags of spruce tips in. So it would be just like adding hops, but this time it's just a different spice.
Cool. Gotcha. Oh yeah. So farm and forage series, fruity. I say it's got a bit of a fruity thing, but it's so subtle you almost can't even tell. It's just enough to kind of let you know that it's there a little bit, I would say.
Yeah, like a fruity aroma you're describing, or?
I was thinking taste, like a little taste, but again, it might be a mix of citrus. Like, I mentioned citrus earlier, so it just could be that kind of same thing that I'm tasting there,
Yeah.
or something along those lines.
Yeah,
But
sure.
it's subtle. It's subtle. I'm not huge on the fruity, like the Kronenberg or something in the blue bottle there. I can probably maybe have one or two or something like that before they get like too strong or something. And this wasn't like that. Like this, I was like, I could drink 6 of these right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So did you invent this one, or was it kind of like one that already existed when you took over?
This is one that I created. It's actually based off of another beer that's coming out very soon. We have a beer called Time and Place. It's our harvest ale. And so we get fresh hops that are right off the vine. We go out to the farm, which is about an hour away. We like pick them up as he's harvesting them, and we throw them in the kettle like hours later. So it's like as fresh as possible, the hops. And so I remember tasting that beer and being like, oh, spruce tips would work awesome in this beer. So I tweaked the malt bill a bit. So it has a slightly more bread crust kind of flavor to it. But it's really similar. So that one will also be coming out pretty soon. So if you like spruce tip, you probably really like the Time and Place one.
Cool. Okay. So moving on, I tried Happy to Be Here.
Mm-hmm.
I just tried that one. No, I'm drinking a Hazy Bear right now. But Happy to Be Here kind of fell in line. There's a couple of them that kind of fell in line in like the golden beer kind of age or description there. Happy to Be Here, the Farm and Forage series, Helles, and Hazy Bear all kind of fit into like the same kind of category. Now, is that lager? Are they all lagers, or?
I don't know. Only the Helles is a lager, but I guess Happy to Beer is a cream ale, so it's supposed to be like it's a lagered ale kind of. It's an ale treated like a lager, I guess. So it's kind of in the same vein. It's pretty similar, but it's more of a hybrid beer.
Gotcha. Okay, and so Hazy Bear. I'm drinking a Hazy Bear right now. Hazy Bear is definitely in the tops for me. I really like the Hazy Bear. Again, light. And when I say light, it's really my only description. It's not like a Guinness, or it's not like, say, the Mullies, like a red ale that's like a bit, maybe probably not as much as a Guinness, but maybe more of a medium kind of in heaviness or something like that. But the Hazy Bear, I said, is light. It's crisp, cool, golden, easy drinking, and smooth flavor. And I mean, I don't know. I just love the Hazy Bear. It's like, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like the younger brother of or sister of our Hazerbeam. So it's Hazerbeam 6.5% alcohol, and this one's 5.5. And even at 1%, it really it drops, like it's a little bit less mouthfeel, but people seem to get scared from the 6.5, and they're like, ooh, 5.5, I can deal with that. And so they tend to go more towards the more sessionable 5.5%, which is that's my preference usually, because then you can have a few of them and still be able to walk a straight line.
Yeah, I didn't even look at the percentages, actually, to tell you the truth. And I cracked, I even forgot to put Hazerbeam on this list, but it was one that I liked as well. Not only do I like the can, but I like the beer, and it actually kind of fit in, I think, with Happy to Be Here and Hazy Bear. And it was like a crisp golden beer. And I chugged that one. I think it was the night I got the package delivered with the video. So I don't, and I was like, oh yeah, Hazerbeam's not in here. So I don't have a review for Hazerbeam other than I loved it because I chugged it. What else? Oh yeah, the Helles. Okay, the Helles, man. It was probably like the 4th or 5th one I tried, and then I just went right through them all. So that's got to say something. You know what I mean? Every time I went back to the fridge, I was like, oh yeah, going for a Helles, because they were just so good. And is that one you created as well? Or you said like that's why the Germans kind of created it, but what?
I just like put my own spin on it. But it's a classic German golden lager. So Helles just means pale in German. And so in terms of lagers, generally people think of like Helles lagers and then Pilsners. So Pilsners would be more hop focused, and then Helles would be more malt focused. So this one really, like, the malt comes to play. There's a little bit of bitterness and a little bit of hops in there, but it's mostly where you're focusing on the malts in this one.
How do you differentiate, or is there even a color for malts and hops? Like, is there a way to know?
In terms of the color of the beer, or?
Yeah, color of the beer, taste. Like, can you just taste it and be like, this is malty, this is hoppy?
Yeah, generally. So like hoppy comes in two different ways. It's hop flavor, so you get either like citrus or tropical fruit or herbal or flowery. And then you can also get more bitterness. So those are two ways of describing hoppiness. Most people assume hoppiness means bitterness, and it's not always the case. I would point to our hazy bear is more hop flavor and very low bitterness. Same with Hazerbeam, hop flavor, low bitterness. Whereas our West Coast IPA, it's called I Hope You're Hoppy. It's more hop bitterness with flavor, but more bitterness focused. Whereas for malts, if you want to, for color, they have a scale called Lovabond, and you can basically calculate what the color will come out. So if I want a light golden lager, I use lighter malts in it. But if you want to go darker, then you can get darker, higher Lovabond malts to make it darker. Basically, everything's calculated. Like I throw it into a program that calculates all the stuff, so I can estimate what the bitterness and what the color will be, and how malty it'll be, or how dry it'll be.
That makes sense. So you said for I Hope You're Hoppy because I wrote down tang. So is that a good word for bitterness?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, you're probably, yeah, there's some kind of, another one that would be bitter. It'd be like a rough way to like look at bitterness is like sucking on a tea bag. It'd be astringent, but this one hopefully is not like that. Hopefully it's a little more pleasant.
That's great. So India Pale Ale on I Hope You're Hoppy. Mm-hmm. And I guess actually, did you have any conflict with Happy to Be Here, with deciding if it should be called Happy to Be Here or Hoppy to Be Here? And I Hope You're Hoppy, or was that?
So I Hope You're Hoppy was just for a tagline. Essentially, it was like finally a West Coast IPA. I hope you're hoppy.
Oh, okay.
Kind of thing. And then the Happy to Be Here was just for the tagline as well. Clean, crisp, and uncomplicated. Just happy to be here.
Oh, that's nice.
So, and I think it describes the beer really well too. It's pretty simple. It's supposed to be for the people that would tend to go towards a Coors Light or a lighter lager. They could hopefully enjoy this and then kind of drift over into the craft beer.
You know what? I nailed that one. On the mark. Happy to be here. I said, tastes like beer. And I know that's very generic to say because they're all beer, but I was just like, you know what? This tastes like a beer. This is the most, I don't want to say general, but like you said, Coors or Canadian or whatever it may be, it just tastes like beer. And same kind of thing. I don't know why I wrote it twice, but just a different way. I said the most beer tasting one.
Really tastes like beer.
Tastes like beer, the most beer tasting one. Oh yeah, so the India Pale Ale, what goes into that?
So that one uses a bunch of different hops. So mostly West Coast hops, so pretty like standard ones like Centennial, Amarillo, Simcoe, and then I had one other one. Ooh, I had a fun new one called Azaka, which is more, so the other ones are more piney and citrusy. And then Simcoe has a little bit of stone fruit in it. And then the Azaka has more like really big citrus notes and a little bit of tropical fruit. And so the combination of those should have a nice like kind of bouquet of hops when you open it up.
I think I'm a fan of the piney and sprucey things. That reminds me of, it's very crispy in a way. I get that
Yep.
fresh, like you fucking brewed it in next to a river in Vancouver or something, in Alaska or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's it. um, what do we see here? Mullies. Oh yeah, I tried a Mullies because I'm not normally huge on the thicker stuff, but Mullies I put thicker like a Snickers, but it's definitely not as heavy as a Guinness, I think, right? It's probably more of like a medium heavy. Is that more right?
Yeah, it's got like some pretty good caramel. Has a bit of body to it, so a little bit of sweetness. Which
Gotcha.
well, I didn't. So when I made it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great like fall winter beer. And people are crushing it all summer. I can't keep up with it really. Like I'm having a lot of trouble keeping up with it. But yeah, I have to brew it every 2 weeks just to like keep up with demand.
Oh yeah, so Jandals. We briefly mentioned Jandals earlier.
Yep.
Um, am I going to be able to order some Jandals fairly soon? I can't wait to try some Jandals.
Yeah, I think we should be able to set that up. Yeah, I don't know when we're gonna go live with the ordering thing, but I can definitely put some aside for you and ship some up to you.
Yeah. Do you guys have a logo, or who does the drawings for you guys for your
Um, so,
cans?
so Steph, he's one of our owners who dropped off the beer for you. His partner does all the things. So Mel, she draws up all the labels, and then she takes care of that. So it's kind of like it's a real family business.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Because even the Farm and Forage series, that was the first one that I tried just based on the can alone. I was just like, you know
Yeah,
what, this one looks like a good one that I'm just going to like for some reason. I don't know
yeah,
why.
yeah. That one turned out really nice. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I can't believe you're like creating beers and they're tasting this good. It's so awesome. And you're doing so many different ones. Super sweet.
Yeah, we're up to like yeah. Thanks. That's yeah. I all I hope is that people enjoy them. I'm not trying to like be earth shattering or anything. Just really nice like sessionable beers, especially we're at a golf course, right? So you're just relaxing outside, and you have to drive there, so you need to be able to drive home as well. But
Right.
we do make some bigger ones as well. So hopefully maybe you partake in a smaller glass while you're at the golf course, but then you can bring some home and enjoy it at home. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I think we're up to 25 different beers since we opened. We've opened about a year now, and I've done 25 different brands.
So that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, most beer companies come up with like 2 a year, and it's like, we're gonna do lime again.
Eventually, we'll keep recycling through, but yeah, I've been keeping Mel busy making new labels. Like this. This is Parliamentary Birds. This is a British like session ale. It's called the Ordinary Bitter, but a Parliament. I came up with the name. So a group of owls is called a parliament. So, and I like when I think of English people, I think of owls for some reason. So I thought Parliamentary Bird would be a cool name, and she came up with this pretty cool label. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think the owl could be my spirit animal. Not
Uh,
necessarily being like, not that I'm like stay up late or whatever, but I'm always just kind of like, I just got my head on a swivel all the time, just aware of my surroundings and hoo, hoo.
also a hoot to be around.
A hoot to be around. Hoo, hoo. Or that brutal joke where it's like, someone called you an owl? Who? 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 One beer that we didn't mention that I tried was Stop and Smell the Flowers. And I got to tell you, I was a little bit unsure about this one to begin with because I was like, what is this going to be? I had no idea. I was kind of scared. And it was kind of like a watermelon kind of color in a way. It was
Oh
different.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, does it have a very subtle fruit flavor? I thought that. Very easy drinking. And then where does the name come from? That's what I was wondering. And now that you've talked a bit, I was wondering, is it because of flowers and the bouquet and the herbal? Is it like that? Or Stop
Yeah,
and Smell the Flowers?
we add rose hips and hibiscus flowers to it. So that's
Gotcha.
gotta take time to smell the flowers. So that's why we made that beer.
Now, what percentage is that one?
It's a pretty small beer, so it's about 3.8%. So it's called
Gotcha.
a beer de tab or table beer. So it's one that you could have a few of.
Yeah, because I was like, this is very easy drinking kind of thing. Like it almost went down like water at times, but still had flavor. But it was interesting. I was like, oh, this watermelon color, this is kind of different.
Yeah, yeah. So the like rosehip and hibiscus are really red, ruby kind of color. So it really the beer like when I first make it, it's gold. It's like it looks like the Hellas, and then you add those, and it just turns pink right away.
Yeah, I'm scared. It kind of makes me scared for this. Those were the only two that I was really scared for was Stop and Smell the Flowers and the sour one that's still staring me in the face.
Yeah. So
I'll have to.
I'll admit I didn't hit. So like the whole point of the sour IPA was if you had like Hazelbeam, it's really like fruity and kind of tastes like juice. But the one thing it's missing is that sourness that juice has. So I was trying to hit that with this beer. This is my first sour ever, so I kind of missed the mark on what I wanted, but it still tasted good. So we went ahead with it and sold it anyway. But it's a decent sour, but it's just sour. It's not fruity, juicy, which I really wanted. So I'm gonna try that one again and hopefully hit the mark there.
Cool. Yeah, those were the last ones I tried was Mully's because normally I don't go for the heavier beers like we talked about before. I kind of go for the golden lagers or cream ales, or that's probably why I like Farm and Forage series because it probably lands kind of similar in line to I think one of my favorite beers of the past say 5 years was Muskoka Detour. It's got that crispy outdoorsy kind of flavor, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a solid like pale ale that's out there.
Well, that's it for the beers, man.